All right, we're going to spend a few minutes now talking about Backbonefast, and we're going to talk about it, discuss it, look at a couple of walkthroughs, and then we're going to be in the lab for about 20 seconds on this one. Sorry to disappoint with the labs, but the thing is, the commands for this are very, very simple. It's the easiest part of it. It's the theory we want to take a little deeper look at. And what our Cisco proprietary feature Backbonefast does, it helps our network to recover from indirect link failures. And the key word there is indirect. Because if a switch detects such a failure, and all that is, it's a failure of a link not directly connected to the switch in question, that's when Backbonefast goes into action. Now, how do we detect that in the first place? Well, an indirect link failure is detected when an inferior BPDU is received, and we're going to see exactly what I'm talking about in this particular walkthrough. Right now, switch 1, switch 2, switch 3, switch 1 is the root, switch 2 is the secondary root. All links are working for now. STP is running as expected, and all links are running at the same speed. Now, switch 1 has been elected the root, the primary root, and it's going to let the world know about it by sending out a config BPDU out every 2 seconds. And in turn, switch 2 is going to relay the one it's getting from switch 1, send it down to 3, and everything is just fine until switch 2 loses its connection to switch 1. So now, switch 2 is going to think, hey, I'm the boss. I am in charge now. I'm the root. So at that point, for a while, switch 3 is going to get 2 separate BPDUs from 2 different claimants to the root bridge role. Now, switch 3 sees this, and 3 is not an idiot. It's going to say, hey, I'm getting these BPDUs, but the bid is much higher from this one guy than it is from the other. So the one from switch 2 is considered an inferior BPDU. And as a result, 3 is going to start ignoring it. And then once 3's max age timer on the port leading to 2 hits 0, that port starts to transition to the listening state, and it relays the information contained in the BPDU from switch 1, which is our superior BPDU. So that's how things work pre-Backbonefast. Now, Backbonefast speeds up that process. It doesn't eliminate the delay, but what happens is the max age stage is skipped. And that doesn't eliminate the delay, but it does cut the overall delay from 50 to 30 seconds. 30 seconds, of course, being the overall duration of the listening and learning states. Now, this is more than you'll probably ever need to know about the root link query. As soon as you hear about RLQ, you know we're talking about Backbonefast, but I want to go through these messages with you. Excuse me. So basically, we have requests and responses when it comes to RLQ. And these two message types, they're not officially pings or echoes, anything like that, but they kind of act as an echo and echo reply, because the first message, the request, is basically saying, here's who I think the root is, can I reach it this way? And the response, of course, is going to tell us whether we can or whether we can't. Now, the request is sent by a port that's already receiving BPDUs, and it's sent by the switch detecting that indirect link outage. Now, the request is going to name the switch that the sender believes is the root. And the recipient forwards that request out its own root port, if necessary, as you'll see in a moment. And after a short period of time, hopefully, the request comes back with the name of the root that can be reached via that port. And if they match, everything is beautiful. And this is not intended to match the setup of the previous examples walked through. But in this one is saying, hey, here's who I think the root bridge is. Can I reach it this way? And switch 2 is going to forward that message out its own root port. And if it comes back eventually, like I said, it depends on how big your network is. And I'm talking seconds here, not minutes. But if switch 2 comes back to 1 and says, hey, you know what? Here's the root you can reach, and they match, then everything is fine. Now, I say eventual response here because there are 2 circumstances under which the recipient of that ROQ request is going to respond immediately. One of them is good and one of them is bad. The bad one is that the recipient has a different root bridge listed, period. And it's just going to fire back immediately and say, my records show a totally different root. I don't know what you're talking about. The good one is when the recipient is the root bridge. You're sending out an RLQ request. Here's who I think the root bridge is. Can I meet it? Can I find it this way? And the immediate response is, hey, you're talking to me already. Now, since all of our switches in the network have to be able to send and receive and relay these requests. And as you can see, RLQ is the heartbeat of Backbonefast. If our RLQ messages can't really go everywhere in our switch network, Backbonefast can't work properly. What you need to do is enable this feature on every switch in your network. It's an all or nothing deal. And speaking of all or nothing deals, I believe I've got the command already up here for you. I do. And the command is simply spanning Backbonefast. And let me go up here just a moment, because you can see I looked at the options in this particular section, and there aren't any. It's spanning Backbonefast, and that's it. So you just configure spanning Backbonefast. Let me run, because I turned it off there with no spanning Backbonefast. Let me turn it on again so we can get a better view of those numbers. Or not. Let's do a conf t instead. How about that? There, we've got it enabled. Then I'll do a show. And you can see first that we get the message that it's enabled, and then you get the statistics, how many transitions you've had, how many inferior BPDUs you've received, and you can see the RLQ requests and responses messages mentioned, both received and sent. And this is for all VLANs. It's not broken down on a per VLAN basis. That is it for Backbonefast. It's about as simple as it gets. And really, all these features are straightforward. It's just remembering where you need to configure it, where you can't configure it, where you should configure it. And we're going to see that's true of the next feature, Root Guard. And I will see you on the very next video, and we'll run a couple of labs on that. See you there.